Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of my show. Today our guest is my cousin Beth, and we are here to talk to her about the experience of losing a child to miscarriage. It's a topic that not a lot of women are always very comfortable talking about, that they don't talk about often, and Beth lost her first child to miscarriage. So to start off though, Beth, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your faith journey, just so that way everyone kind of knows you a little bit.
Well, I'm Beth. I'm 35. I have 3 wonderful kids. I grew up at an Intersection Ministries. It's now, or was Grace Church then. I went to Holland Christian and graduated from there. I went on a lot of youth trips. I really accepted Christ after going to Wyoming on an Indian reservation and watched them, and it really affected me, and I made profession of faith after that, and yeah.
Alright, so like I said, we're going to talk about losing a child to miscarriage, or just losing an unborn child, because Beth lost her first child. So Beth, why don't you just kind of walk us through that experience, tell us about it, and what all happened?
Well, I got pregnant in June, and it was very happy. It was our first baby. We told everybody. It was great, all excited. Went for my 16-week checkup, and they couldn't find a heartbeat. And it was one of those things where at first they thought the machine wasn't working, so they went and got an ultrasound machine, and the baby wasn't moving and had no heartbeat or anything. And I was by myself at my doctor's appointment, so I had to call my husband at work and without breaking down too hard on the phone, and just telling him to get over to the doctor's office. And then they told us the baby wasn't viable. Baby had died. And all I remember after that, we went home and called our parents. Could not find my mom anywhere. She was doing a class at the hospital because she was a nurse. And I went home. Had to keep telling people over and over and over again, which was really hard. And after we did that, I had to call the doctor. Or my mom called the doctor when we finally got a hold of her. She came, called the doctor to really find out, because I didn't really hear half of what they said. Because, you hear about 2%, to be honest, when you're in shock. And he told my mom everything, and I went in the next day and was hooked up to monitors and whatnot, and given medicine to induce labor, and delivered her.
So what were some of the emotions and struggles you kind of had to deal with in that whole process?
I remember crying a lot. It was sad. I also remember screaming, "Why me? Why is this happening to me? Why am I not good enough to be a mom? What did I do wrong? Why couldn't I carry her? Why couldn't I protect her?" And then it also affected my next pregnancy with my daughter Sophia, who's now 9, because it made me terrified to even go to the doctor for that one, because I was afraid every doctor's appointment I was going to be told it again, that she was gone. So it made a big impact. And I will say I was mad. I was mad at God. I was mad at the doctors for a little bit, but then I realized it wasn't their fault. But it took a while to realize that it wasn't my fault, that I was
like the biggest challenge for you in that?
Probably my biggest challenge would probably actually be getting pregnant again, because every month when I wouldn't be pregnant, it would bring back, what's wrong with my body? Why can't I do this? Why am I not getting pregnant?
So how did the whole experience affect your faith and walk with God?
Well, for a while I was mad. I was mad at him. But I will say I have a great faith-believing family that was with me every step of the way. If it hadn't been for them, I don't know if I'd be here today, because I was given a book by my Aunt Kathy, who had miscarried a baby, that was called I Will Hold You in Heaven, and it was all about a mom, and it just talks about, when I get to heaven, I will hold you, and that really helped me, because it also gave Bible verses about it and stuff in the book, and so that really helped me with my realizing it wasn't God's fault, it wasn't my fault, because in the book it also talked about, it gave other people scenarios and situations and what they had to go through, and
So how did your faith help you through the experience, or do you actually even think your faith did help you versus if you hadn't had your faith?
I think my faith did, because it helped me know too that she is in heaven, that that she's not just buried in the ground, and that I know where she is. I know she's okay. I know. It also gave me somebody to lean on. Because my biggest thing too was, I realized God had gone through this too. God has loved, with Jesus being put on the cross and stuff. It's like God felt what I was feeling. He went through it. So it was, I guess my faith helped me with that, because it gave me the strength that it's like, okay, God went through this. He got through it. I can get through it too. And so he knew what I was going through.
So tell us now, like, where you are at now in your faith, now that you've had 3 kids successfully, and you have, your kids and your family. Is your faith better than you think it was before? Like, where is it at now? Just kind of.
I think it's better, because it drew me closer to him, because it really helped me start reading the Bible more and praying and realizing to not take every day for granted, and the little things. Like when I got pregnant with Sophia, just hearing her heartbeat at every appointment, I didn't take that for granted. It made me if I didn't have my faith, I don't know how I would have survived, really, because I wouldn't have had anybody to lean on. I wouldn't had to realize, I guess it was a big thing, because my parents would pray for me. I mean, my brothers that night, even though it was 10 o'clock at night, came barging up, banging on my door, because they had to make sure I was okay. After they heard we lost our baby, and I remember standing in a circle and praying, and my brother David praying for us and stuff. And if we didn't have our faith or believe in God, something like that probably wouldn't have happened. I don't think my brother, not that they wouldn't have cared, but I don't think it would have been important to them to be there at 10 o'clock at night. After work, after everything, but they still made, but with our faith, believing in God, and being able to just open the Bible and just read you know, about God, and knowing that he went through what I went through made it easier than not having that, because then you don't have that faith that, you know, there's somebody else, a higher person, being that knows exactly how I feel, how my heart's breaking, how they probably want, you know, you want to protect your child, but somehow you couldn't.
So what advice do you have to give to other women who have gone through this experience or are even currently going through the experience?
The biggest thing, talk about it, because you will find that there are more people out there willing to support you that have been through it and then if they go through it, they know they can come to you. Don't hide it from your other kids. Don't act like they didn't exist, because they are part of you. They will always be a part of you. Like with my kids, I have a box that has memories of her. May not be pictures or anything, but it's her recorded heartbeat and all that. And on September 21, which is the day I delivered her and stuff, and we pull out that box and we look through it. And to my kids, that's the only memory they will ever have of their older sister. And, but to them, they know they have a sister, that she is in heaven, she's looking down on them. And it will be scary. When you get pregnant again, it will be the most scariest thing you will ever go through. Because every doctor's appointment, every time that baby doesn't move, you will think the worst. But, like in my case, I have my rainbow baby. I have 3 wonderful babies, children, and I love them dearly. And to turn to your Bible, because God went through it. He watched his son being crucified on the cross. He watched his son die and not being able to do anything. And so he knows. He's been there. He's done it. So it's the best support that you will ever get, is to remember he went through it too. But does it get easy? No. Because you will think about them. You will wonder what they would be doing right now. But you know that they're happy. I know that she's in heaven. I know she's happy. And stuff. But my biggest advice, and I will say it again, talk about it. Find support groups. There are millions of ways to find support groups, to find people that went through it. And don't hesitate to talk to them about it and be like, is this normal? Am I supposed to feel this way? Is it okay? And most of them will say, that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly what I did. That's exactly how I dealt with it. Or I dealt with it. They'll give you suggestions. And that will help. But the biggest thing is, do not keep it bottled up. Talk about it. Because that baby is just like any baby. They were yours. They're your flesh and blood. And they were part of you.
Well, thank you so much, Beth, for being willing to come and talk about this. I know it's not easy. I know it's a subject a lot of women tend to be afraid to talk about, so definitely thank you for being willing to do this. Feel free to leave comments below if you have other advice. I hope you all found it very helpful to you, especially if you have gone through the experience or are currently even going through the experience. Continue watching for even more videos with talking with other people about different experiences they have gone through. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.